What if I told you that millions of years ago, there was a penguin that could look LeBron James straight in the eye? That's right, a penguin standing at an incredible 6 feet 8 inches tall, weighing as much as a baby elephant, and ruling the ancient oceans of Antarctica. This is the story of the Colossus penguin, the most massive penguin that ever lived, and today we're diving deep into the frozen world of these prehistoric giants. But first, let me ask you this. How did a bird that can't even fly become one of the ocean's most fearsome predators? Stick around, because the answer will blow your mind. Our story begins in one of the most remote places on Earth, Seymour Island, Antarctica. Picture this: howling winds, temperatures that can freeze your breath, and scientists bundled up like astronauts, carefully brushing dirt off what looks like ordinary rocks. But these weren't ordinary rocks. In this frozen wasteland, researchers discovered something extraordinary. Buried in the La Meseta Formation were the fossilized remains of what would become known as Paleodypts kleckowski, but we know it better as the Colossus penguin. The first clue that this was something special? The size of the bones. When scientists first saw the fossilized leg bone, they couldn't believe what they were looking at. This single bone was longer than an entire modern penguin. But here's where it gets really interesting. The scientists didn't just find one bone. They found enough pieces to reconstruct what this ancient giant actually looked like. And when they did the math, they realized they had discovered something that would rewrite everything we knew about penguin evolution. Alright, let's talk about size, because this is where things get absolutely mind-blowing. Remember that LeBron James comparison from the beginning? Let's break this down. The Colossus penguin stood at exactly 6 feet 8 inches tall, the exact same height as the king himself. But here's where it gets crazy. While LeBron weighs around 250 pounds of pure muscle, our prehistoric penguin friend weighed the same amount, but was built completely differently. To put this in perspective, let's compare it to penguins you actually know. An emperor penguin, the largest penguin alive today, stands about 4 feet tall and weighs around 88 pounds. The Colossus penguin was nearly 70% taller and almost 3 times heavier. If you saw a Colossus penguin walking toward you, it would be like encountering a penguin the size of a large man, but with flippers instead of arms, and a beak that could probably swallow a fish the size of your head. Imagine walking along an ancient Antarctic beach and seeing this massive black and white figure emerging from the ocean. It would have been simultaneously adorable and absolutely terrifying. But here's the thing that might surprise you most. The world where the Colossus penguin lived was nothing like the frozen wasteland we call Antarctica today. We're talking about 37 million years ago, during a period called the Late Eocene. Back then, Antarctica wasn't the ice-covered continent we know today. It was warm, green, and teeming with life. Imagine forests where glaciers now stand, and temperate oceans where ice sheets now float. This was a penguin paradise. The oceans were rich with marine life, fish, squid, and crustaceans that provided an endless buffet for our giant penguin friends. But here's the key: there were no seals, no sea lions, and no other marine mammals competing for the same food sources. The Colossus penguin had essentially hit the evolutionary jackpot. They occupied an ecological niche that no other animal could fill. They were the apex aquatic birds of their time, the undisputed rulers of the southern seas. Picture this. Groups of these massive penguins cutting through the water like feathered submarines, their powerful flippers propelling them at incredible speeds as they hunted for prey that would seem enormous by today's standards. So what made the Colossus penguin such an effective predator? Let's break down the anatomy of this prehistoric powerhouse. First, those flippers. While modern penguins are already incredible swimmers, the Colossus penguin's flippers were massive. Think of them as biological propellers designed for maximum efficiency. These weren't just bigger versions of modern penguin wings. They were evolutionary masterpieces. The bones were incredibly dense and solid, much more so than flying birds. This gave them the weight they needed to dive deep and stay underwater longer, but also made them incredibly strong swimmers. It's like they were wearing built-in diving weights. That beak wasn't just for show either. Long, sharp, and perfectly designed for catching large fish and squid, it was basically a built-in spear. The skull structure tells us they had powerful jaw muscles, strong enough to hold onto prey that would make a modern penguin struggle. But here's the most amazing part. Their body shape was perfectly hydrodynamic. Every curve, every angle was shaped by millions of years of evolution to cut through water with minimal resistance. They were living torpedoes. While an emperor penguin can reach speeds of about 9 miles per hour underwater, scientists estimate that the Colossus penguin could have reached speeds of up to 15 miles per hour, fast enough to catch almost any prey in their ancient oceans. So if these penguins were so perfectly adapted and successful, what happened to them? Why don't we have giant penguins ruling our oceans today? The answer lies in one of the most dramatic climate changes in Earth's history. Around 34 million years ago, Earth entered what scientists call the Oligocene glaciation. Temperatures plummeted, ice caps formed, and Antarctica transformed from a green, temperate continent into the frozen world we know today. As the climate cooled, the rich marine ecosystems that supported these giants began to collapse. The warm-water fish and squid species they relied on either died off or migrated to warmer waters. Food became scarce. But that's not the whole story. As the Colossus penguin was struggling with climate change, a new group of predators was evolving: marine mammals. Seals, sea lions, and early whales were rapidly adapting to fill the same ecological niches. These mammals had several advantages over the giant penguins. They were warm-blooded in a way that gave them better temperature regulation. They could give birth to live young instead of being tied to nesting sites, and they were more adaptable to changing conditions. The Colossus penguin found itself caught in a perfect storm: a rapidly cooling climate, disappearing food sources, and increased competition from better adapted marine mammals. Within a few million years, these magnificent giants vanished forever. The story of the Colossus penguin isn't just an ancient tale. It has profound implications for understanding our world today. These giants teach us crucial lessons about evolution, climate change, and survival. Today's penguins are facing their own climate crisis. As Antarctica warms and ice sheets melt, modern penguin species are struggling with many of the same challenges their giant ancestors faced: changing food sources, shifting ecosystems, and habitat loss. But the Colossus penguin story also shows us the incredible power of evolution. Over millions of years, these birds evolved from much smaller ancestors into giants that dominated their world. It's a reminder that life finds a way to adapt to almost any environment. Every new fossil discovery adds another piece to the puzzle of how life on Earth has changed over time. The Colossus penguin is just one example of the incredible diversity that has existed on our planet, much of which we're still discovering. Understanding these ancient giants helps scientists better protect the penguins we have today. By learning how past species responded to climate change, we can better predict how modern species might adapt, or what they might need to survive. The Colossus penguin lived in a world we can barely imagine, where Antarctica was green, the oceans were warm, and giant penguins ruled the seas. Standing as tall as Lebron James, but built like a living submarine, these magnificent creatures represent one of evolution's most remarkable success stories. Though they've been extinct for over 30 million years, their legacy lives on in every penguin that slides across the ice, dives into the ocean, or waddles across our screens. They remind us that our planet has always been changing, and life has always found ways to adapt. If this incredible journey through prehistoric Antarctica amazed you as much as it amazed me, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible stories about the giants of our planet's past. And let me know in the comments, what other prehistoric giants would you like to learn about? Until next time, keep exploring the wonders of our incredible planet.